Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of West Ham Fan TV's Post-Match Pint, the only West Ham United post-match football show on the internet. Hopefully this will be the last one I do with these. Maybe the Forest game we do them, but I can't stand the football anymore, if I'm honest with you. It was West Ham 1, Tottenham 1. I don't know where to start.
That was probably the worst West Ham Tottenham game I've ever seen, and we've obviously lost to them 4-1 at their ground. That was just dull and lifeless. And do you know what the worst thing is? I say all that, and it was probably the best atmosphere of the season, but it was still flat.
The thing is,
that's how bad it's been this season.
Exactly.
It was still flat, but better than recent times.
This is bad at the moment. I don't think everyone's got their view and opinion around lineups and systems and all that, but I don't think there's anything that anyone could do at the moment that would alter the outcome.
Look at that bench. I looked at the bench and I sat there during the game and I was like, what have we got on the bench? And people sit there and go, that's the wrong sub, that's the wrong sub. No. There's literally no one. And someone, I think Dom, and he's off camera, but was saying about Guilherme, and I think he's right. He does need more chance, but I don't look at him as he's the difference maker. You bring on Guilherme. I think he's got pace.
Yeah.
So I would like to see him play more, but I still don't sit there and say that Potter's a disgrace.
But you've got to look at it, right? And this is what and I mean this with the greatest respect. I'm looking at that team today, right? And I looked at the starting lineup. I thought, okay, that's a decent starting lineup, but it's as best as we can get. Right? But when I'm looking at it, I'm still looking at patches in it. I'm still looking at where we can lose the midfield. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it today, and I'm thinking to me, we've got two wingers and a striker, two in midfield again. You're obviously going to play 5 at the back. I mean, why are you playing 5 at the back against this Tottenham side? I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know.
I think just to be fair, it is the better performances we've had this season is that formation. I don't think it's we're doing it because we're scared of them.
But when I look at it, and I looked at it and I thought, this could go either way. Even with 8 changes, right? They're missing Son, they're missing Maddison, they're missing Solanke. They're their 3 biggest players. And you're looking at it and you're going into it. They don't give a shit, right? They are in the same position as when we went there when we was against Frankfurt, right? Semi-final of the European Cup. Yeah, I remember going to Tottenham, getting beat there, and I didn't give a shit. Yeah, because I'm thinking to myself, I don't give a shit what happens today. I really don't care because we're going there, and it showed in the atmosphere in the ground with them. You know what I mean? They did not make a noise because they're fucked. They're just coming back from a European semi-final win. Yeah, they're going out to Norway on Thursday. Good luck to them. And I mean that with the greatest respect.
I said that and it didn't go down well. Be careful.
I don't want them to win. Yeah, but that's what their fan base are facing. Yeah. You know what I mean? If I say I don't want them to win and they win, I'm going to get stick anyway. If I say I want them to win and they don't win, I'm going to get stick. If I say I want them to, I'm going to get stick either way. Good luck to them. They're going out to Norway on fucking Thursday. They're likely to get to the European Cup final.
They could Spurs it up.
They could Spurs it up. Yeah. Listen, the goal that Bodo Glimt scored on Thursday give me a glimmer of hope here today, because I thought to myself, you know what? 2 goals going into that. Bodo Glimt to a good side at home. Yeah. I thought they might have one eye on it, and it showed in the changes. It showed in the changes, right? And we still couldn't capitalise.
It's not enough.
It is fucking dog shit. Last week we went to Brighton 2-1 up, we fucked it up. Like the week before that, Southampton, we conceded in the last minute again. You know what I mean? It is just not good. The football is tepid. The fucking team is tepid. There's players here that just don't want to be here, and it shows in their. If you can't get up, and I mean this, and I know people are going to say, we say it's their cup final. If you can't get up for a Tottenham at home game, right, against a team that don't want it, they didn't want to win today. They didn't give a shit whether they won or lost. They didn't give a fuck. And we can't beat them. We're in big trouble, right? And if I knew this was always happening. Sorry. When Ipswich went down, right? There's nothing here now. There's nothing to play for. What could we play for? Pride. We could have went above them today.
It's not that playing any different before they got relegated.
That should be enough. We've not changed it.
It's been comfortable.
But I think that Potter is looking at. He knows that there's people that don't want to be. Paquetá today, for me, glimpses. There are glimpses. Couple of good tackles. Trying to get himself sent off.
Yeah. Apparently he was crying after the yellow card. It's like, no, it wasn't a red.
but no, you know what it was, Dan? He basically got the yellow and was talking himself into a red. He was at risk of being a red, and I think that's when he got emotional and then Bowen had to. That's kind of like how I saw it. Haven't had the thingy of replays.
I have to say, I think part of the reason as well, you talk about why we play 5 back at Spurs. I don't think there's enough trust in this defence.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, that fucking goal was a disgrace.
Yes.
What they scored, that was a defensive shambles. I think there's questions got to be asked on Kilman. But what Creswell was doing, drifting central, like everyone's chasing the ball. There's no, so it's just a simple pass and the tap in. Why are all of our defenders all trying to occupy the same space?
He shouldn't have been there. It's one of them things where you try and cut it. He's trying to cut it out because it was a pass from Areola to Kilman to Areola to Kilman, and then you've upped.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, get rid of it. That's all you've got to do. We've got a 6'5" fucking German up front who can hold up the ball. He's probably one of the only people who've got this season that could hold up the ball.
Yeah.
And they're fucking about with it, and they've done it too many times. Too many times. Listen, there is no unity in this side at all. Yeah. There is people there that don't want to be there. Kudus, right? I was watching him today, and I don't want to just dig him out because there are other players. But him, why play him?
I think.
And the only reason, bro, the only reason I think they are playing him, is because they want to get rid of him, and they want him in the shop window. If he's on the bench, his value will reduce, and that is the only reason I can see it now, because he is offering nothing. He's walking through games. He's walking.
No, I think that's a fair point, and I can't argue against that. I think the thing is with Kudus, right? What we're doing is, let's start from the beginning. Kudus has had a bad season. Yeah,
he's got like 3 goals.
Yeah, he's had a bad season, and you know what I mean. No excuses can be made for him or his performances. What we are doing though, we are comparing it to his first season, where he played a whole season in his favourite position due to the fact that Bowen was up top. So this season he hasn't had that. He has played on that side a couple of times and still stunk it out. Yeah. But in comparison, he had a whole season in that position and was great, got good return, players doubling up on him in terms of opposition, and this season he hasn't done that. Like Nicky's saying, I think him along with a number of other players, they're just bad, and I think Fulkrug hit the nail on the head a couple of weeks ago, where half the team are trying to work in a certain way, and the other half are just not interested, just due to the fact we ain't got nothing to play for. I think the system situation, it's a combination of 2 things. One, agreed with what Dan said, I don't trust any of the centre-backs, Kilman or Todibo, in a back four.
£75 million, Brian. That's a disgrace.
In a back four, I wouldn't trust any of them, right? The second thing is, I think that is Potter's favoured system. So with the lineup today against Spurs, I was fine with it, because due to the fact that I don't mind having Fulkrug at the top with Bowen and Kudus slightly behind, and be in the legs, because you've got the variety to swap that around. If Fulkrug comes deep, they can go ahead of him. But there's no continuity there, and that's the only thing. Like, anytime we were in that final third, the final pass or something, it just won't click in, and something needed to change.
Yeah, and then it's
I've got to say this as well. I've got to see that goal back. Their goal. Because there was big shouts for handball. It's obviously been checked. I've heard there was a couple of tweets at half time from, I think Gary Lineker was one of them, saying it was a disgrace, shouldn't have been allowed. Really? I've got to see it back.
I watched it back, Scott's, because I missed it in real time, so I watched it back. It's hard for me to see it from that angle, so maybe on TV I didn't see it enough. Like I said, it could be a disgrace. I'm more pissed off with the defending. I'm more pissed off with Kilman fucking about with it there. I'm more pissed off with Creswell and the rest of the centre-backs all trying to rush over the ball.
You shouldn't have to be relying on VAR to dig you out of an hole that you've created yourself.
We know what it is, so maybe it's not as conclusive and clear enough for them to have overruled the decision. So I don't know. All I know is the defending was disgraceful.
Shit.
It's so poor. And like I said, £75 million we've spent this season on 2 centre-backs. Kilman, I've defended him a lot this season, but £40 million, 100 grand a week. Whoever's fucking signed off of that, and that is a Lopetegui signing, I'm confident, because he played for him before. It's a disgrace. And this is why, and I said this on Friday night to Pint Scott, I will never be in favour of players coming in and getting the captain's armband. I have this argument with so many West Ham fans when we make a new signing and they go, oh yeah, make him captain because he was captain here. No, because they can come in and end up being shit. And then you're with someone that's got your armband, is not leading by example, and then you end up having to shift him out anyway. Like, so if he was captain, and I don't see the captain material in him. I don't see the captain that people say Bowen is, and he's not vocal or that. You don't see that with Kilman, and that's what I said. That this idea of the captain that we had the back in the day, the Roy Keanes, it's gone. That's a dying thing in football. But yeah, I think Kilman, he needs to do a lot better. Yeah. He needs to really step up his game because he's made. Going forward on the ball, he's good on the ball. But the main job, not good enough.
Well, this is the thing. We've gone from being a team that had dominant centre halves, particularly aerially. We were always a threat from set pieces. Now we've got defenders that basically, other than Mavropanos, who we know is garbage.
Who scored this season? Has Kilman scored?
No.
I don't think
he either,
No, he scored in the FA Cup.
FA Cup, did he score? I know he's got an assist, Kilman.
Yeah,
he ain't scored.
He ain't scored. No,
he ain't scored.
For a centre back from corners, from a centre back from corners, it's not cool. I think Thingy would have been our top scorer, wouldn't he? Fucking Dawson,
even Mavropanos. I don't think.
The thing is,
he ain't scored. Usually gets a goal.
The thing is, with our team, basically, the problem lies in the centre of midfield, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
Where we've got no legs, we've got no one breaking up play, etc. We've got no one supporting the centre backs, etc., etc. That's where the main problem is. So it don't matter what combination you put in there, whether you put in Souček, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Paqueta, whatever two you put in there, Soler, it don't matter because you're still going to have the same problem. Against Spurs, today's combination I was happy for because it is quite attacking in a sense, and Spurs ain't really got nothing to kind of counteract Paqueta and Souček. I think Paqueta was one of our better players today. I would say him, Wan-Bissaka and Fulkrug were probably the three players I would say that had the most impact in anything we were trying to do.
But again, he was dropping deep.
He was dropping deep, trying to link it up, etc. And Wan-Bissaka was always an outlet in the first half on the right hand side. Spurs changed it a little bit in the second half, and they kind of plugged him out. But still, I think they were the players that made.
You know what? Jace was saying to me, like, Wan-Bissaka must regret signing for us because he's been so good, and he's like, what the fuck have I come to?
But on the flip side of that, though, he's probably had his best individual playing season ever.
So
I don't think. I'd rather be here than Man United. That means. That would.
Unless they win.
They could end up with a trophy in Champions League football.
He don't play, so. He wasn't playing.
Get the medal, but that's the thing. I think you're right. Like when people focus on Potter, like, he's picking this wrong. It doesn't matter what. We've seen multiple combinations. It's the same outcome. And what we need to do really is put the focus on the players. Like I said, the midfield is painful. It's painfully slow. And so I don't know what people want out of this thing. Yeah, you can have a small impact, of course, and we should be seeing more in terms of points. But to me, the players need to be changed. 100%. And Alvarez is a crazy one for me. Apparently, he's fit, but there's a chance he'll never play for West Ham again.
And I was going to bring him up actually, Alvarez, because obviously this is about the fourth week now we haven't seen him.
Something's happened, and I don't know what.
Well, I know. We know what's happened. He's had an argument with him. He walked out. He didn't want to play anymore.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know.
That's what I mean.
But this is what I'm saying. This is why
We've seen that so many times this season.
Disconnect in that changing room. You've got players that are fit. I mean, I don't want to see him play for West Ham again. If you do that, I was the same with Pint. Pint was 10 times the fucking player Alvarez was. As soon as you turn around and say you don't want to play for us anymore, that's it. You're done. Right?
There is some kind of like.
There's a rift. There's a rift somewhere.
And with him particularly, because this is the third manager effectively that he's had some kind of issue with. So from Moyes, when Moyes dropped him, they kept it under wraps, but they clearly dropped him.
The reason why they're probably trying to say that he's got an injury or something like that is because they want money from him.
Yeah, they want to save.
He's fell out with 3 managers. And if you keep on, if people know that it's a fact, who's going to buy him?
But it's not just this thing. It's not just Alvarez. Kudus and Todibo fell out with Lopetegui. Like, this seems to be a common occurrence in our dressing room. So
it seems like we've got a disciplinary issue. There's people in the changing room, or there's not enough character in the changing room to put a stop to it.
What it is in our team currently, right? two things we don't lack is leadership across the whole squad, and we've lost those little cliques we had previously. So if you go through sort of like COVID time to now, we were quite a happy squad. It was very evident to see internally, externally, we were a happy squad. And then after that era, sort of like the Moyes era, the European era, you know, you had the French little clique connection. You had little camps where there were little, so the internal camaraderie between players was there. Do you know what I mean? It always looked like a happy sort of bunch, even through difficult times and stuff like that. Once we've lost some of those players, you know, like the Ben Ramas, the Zumas, etc., you know, those cliques are sort of disintegrated, and you can't really see where the vibes are. And again, the leadership for me is a massive thing, because it ain't there. We don't really have no on the pitch leader as such. It's meant to be the senior players, like your Creswells, like your Fabianskis, etc. But they're not the type of players. They're either not playing, or they're not ones that are in the position.
Yeah, do you think like a Kudus or something is going to listen to Creswell if Creswell was digging him out and saying fucking sort it out? Like.
Exactly, but he don't play. So that's what I'm saying. When you're looking at our main players, we're in a situation where we don't really have any leadership throughout the squad. Do you know what I mean?
Because the thing is, the thing is that times have changed. People are more sensitive now. Like, you can't sit there and say the things you would be able to say on a pitch and call everyone, you know, see you next Tuesday, fucking sort yourself out, you single a play out, because then it caused rifts. And then you've seen it like this season with Todibo, Kudus and that. Managers are trying to fucking tell them, I'm taking you off. You're not good enough. And then they're fucking wanting to have a Barney with the manager. So if the manager can't do it, there's not going to be a single player that can call out players and say that, and that is the problem. So it's more of a societal modern time problem that you've got. We need quality players. That's what we need, balance in the team, and we need, like you said, characters.
Seems like there's too much
just good characters,
prima donnas in there, mate. That's why I would have people like Potsy. You see Potsy coming yesterday. They want him for another year.
Oh no, definitely.
Right. And people saying, "Oh, he's coming home. He's got to. He's got to come home." We've got no legs. I can't see us being able to afford anyone in midfield.
No.
That could. I'm not saying could be better. They could be better, but you've got to get quality and some legs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've got quality, but we've got no legs.
No, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And like, we need legs.
Yeah.
So we've got to try and back up. There's trust me now, apart from Alvarez leaving, the other two ain't leaving. Suchek ain't leaving. Ward-Prowse ain't leaving.
Well, Suchek, Everton might, if they stump up the right money, 15 million's preferred.
15? No, I wouldn't sell him for 15 million.
But if they stump up the right money,
40,
he might go.
And I mean that with the greatest respect.
Ward-Prowse,
because I don't want him to go.
He almost scored that free kick. Apart from that,
that wasn't close.
It was. It hit the post.
It didn't hit the post.
It hit the post.
The back post. It hit the back stanchion. For me, in my mind, he should score that. That goalkeeper. Gave that whole side all he had to do is get it on target, and it goes in. He's meant to be an expert. It's
been 2 years.
2 years. He's got one.
2 years.
Danny Ings has scored a free kick in pre-season at least.
That's quality as well. That's quality. Look, we're in a situation now where we're looking at a complete rebuild, basically.
After we were just supposed to have a complete rebuild in the summer. This is
what I mean. We brought in 10 players, and the thing is as well, like with last season, or this season, I should say. Everyone said we won the transfer window, and I kind of get why people say that.
On paper,
we said that, but the problem was how these players were, how they were bought and who bought them in. Because effectively, you had two people buying. You had, Lopetegui, and you had Stighton buying,
and Sullivan sticking his oar in.
Right, and you're buying for different aims and objectives. You're buying for the future, you're buying for now, when you're looking at the Guilhermes and the Somervilles, and then you're looking at the full crew, it's a completely different end of the spectrum. So there was no sort of like strategical plan, basically, and I think when we're kind of now seeing it now, where it's just a mishmash of players, because you're right, we have good players, but we don't have a team, and that's the main problem. I've always said, and I've said this season, I don't feel playing our best personnel is playing the best team. the Kudus on one side, Bowen on the other, or even them two up top alongside whoever, and in this case Fulford, I don't actually think that works.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even if the system changes and they're somewhere else.
It looks good on paper.
Yeah, it looks good on paper,
That's
but
why,
it's not the team, it's not the best team.
To Dom's point, that's why I wouldn't actually mind just starting a Guilherme. I know he hasn't lit up, but at least he's got some pace. So it might be, while like I said, he hasn't pulled
But
up
how do you expect people to pull up trees if they're sitting in a van?
And this is, but all right. In addition to that, then the thing that me and Dom were going back and forth about was whether Guilherme's had a chance, right? So I personally feel that Potter in the last 2 months has actually given him some game time. Whether it's enough game time or not is an argument.
It's hard to impact, like make an impact on like 80.
It's obviously an issue. There's obviously an issue with him. There's obviously an issue with the geezer.
It's not an issue. He's not
playing.
good enough.
It's not good enough. Yeah, that's the issue.
He's
not ready.
And that's not being disrespectful. Like, is he first team material? Maybe people think he is, but I don't. I'm not sure.
He's still young. I know what you're saying. Maybe he's not good enough now.
Yeah,
I'd say the same.
Right.
He's not ready.
If you give the kid a chance, give the kid half an hour today. Kudus was doing nothing. Right, give the kid half an hour today. Right,
the yellow card hampered him. Though.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Tottenham did not give a shit.
They did.
He could have done something. That's where he could get the but I don't know, man. I'm just grabbing at straws here.
We just needed us to be a bit more physical, put some tackles on them, make them something to think about.
Mate, I'm telling you now. You put it on them today.
Yeah.
None of them would have wanted it because they're playing Thursday.
Yeah. Agreed.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and that is what we ain't doing, and that is going to be the issue. Listen, it ain't going to change between now and the end of the season, so we just have to leave it.
No, listen.
Good finish by Bowen, though. I'm going to say that. Good finish by Bowen.
Goalie the eyes.
Yeah, mate, through his legs. And the thing is, Bowen, it's so much composure for him because he could have shot earlier.
Yeah.
He held on, waited to the right time, bang, through the legs. And I thought, without him this season, mate, I don't know where we would be. He is the one player you can rely on to step up, and I think that's our problem. Is he's been doing his job in front of goal for the most part. We aren't getting goals by committee. We're literally so reliant on Bowen to stick it in the back of the net. And
you're reliant on Bowen to stick it in the back of the net. You're reliant to Wan-Bissaka to create something.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka assist, Bowen goal. That sums it up. The two players that can hold their heads up this season, really.
Yeah.
And the rest, mate, they need to have a serious look at themselves, and we need to clear out a lot of this shit.
Absolutely.
As I said, it don't matter what personnel you put out there. In my opinion, like the defense is what it is. There's no one who's like decent enough, basically, to play in a varied positions of a 3 and a 2, and there's no one in centre midfield. There's no partnership in centre midfield. No legs.
And talent aside, they're checked out. Mentally, they are checked out. They could not give a shit. And that is evident. So
that's poor when you've got people paying money to come and see you.
It is poor, and it's pathetic from them. So, like I said, whatever we want to put on Potter, I think he probably knows. Like I said, we just need to get to the end of the season, get in the summer, clear out Deadwood. We may not be able to get our top targets. Apparently, Potter's got some ambitious targets. We're probably going to have to find gems. He's going to have to find the next Caicedo, the next Basuma, the next Cucurella. Him and McCauley are going to have to do that. Because it's going to be hard at 17th to attract these players, especially if we're competing with other teams that are going to have Europe.
Right. There we go. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV's Post-Match Pint. There will be some fan cams up, hopefully. We've had a bit of an issue with
the whole drama.
Dan is going to go and have a look and see if he can save them, but hopefully there will be some. But this will probably be up before that. I will say that. So there we go. But thank you very much. One thing left for us to say:
come on, you
ones.